Today, what we're going to do is we're going to make a decorative bow. It's good for hanging wreaths, hanging towels. You can do whatever you want with it. But it's a nice decorative bow. It's made from 1/8 inch by 1 inch flat bar stock, both the bow and the hook. Okay, and we're going to do it from a kind of a very basic beginner standpoint today, because normally, if you look, there's divots right here where the collar comes around. There's 3 of those. You'll see them later on in the video. And normally when I demonstrate those, I forward those on the edge of the anvil with the peen of the hammer. But for today's demo, we're going to take that and we're going to cut it with a hacksaw, and then we're going to go between the cuts with a chisel and chisel those pieces out. That way somebody with less experience doesn't have to try to forward that down on the edge of the anvil. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, a little bit of a warning, like I said, I normally forward those, so I'm doing this a little different, so we may encounter a few surprises because I've never actually cut these the way we're going to do it today. I've always forwarded them. But I thought this would make a good project for a Christmas present, and seeing how we're only about 4 days away from Christmas, people are running out of stuff to make for Christmas. It's time to make stuff for Christmas. So like I said, this is made from 30 inches of 1/8 inch by 1 inch flat bar stock. Okay, here's our 30-inch piece that we're going to start with. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put a taper on both ends. Okay? So I'm going to show you the right way to do the taper and the wrong way to do the taper. And I'm going to do the wrong way first. That way you see what not to do, and then I'm going to show you how to do it the right way. So one side we're going to screw up, and the other side we're going to do right, because we've already got the other pieces made for the video. So we're going to screw up one side and we're going to do one side right. So when we forge this, we want to take it and we want to start on the end, and we want to come down 2 or 3 blows with it up on edge. Then we want to turn it flat. We want to flatten it back out. Then we want to turn it back up. We want to hammer 2 or 3 blows, turn it down. If we don't do that, what this will do is this will cave in and it'll buckle on us. So like I said, we're going to do one end right and we're going to do one end wrong. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to do about 8 blows, and then we're going to do about 2 flat, and we're going to do about 8 on end, and then about 2 flat, and we'll show you what it does. Okay, wrong way first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you look at that, basically all we just did right there was we just buckled that thing all 2 pieces. Okay? If you look at it from the end ways, it just buckled it, and we've ruined that piece. You can see that. We have ruined that piece. So, that's the wrong way to go about it. So now we're going to do it the right way. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now it takes a little more time, but you'll notice we're getting a taper. It's flat on the edge. So now we're going to heat it up again. We're going to taper it some more. One, two, three. Keeping it nice and even as we go. Now I want a nice long taper, so I'm going to work back a little bit more. Now I'm going to take a Sharpie, I'm going to go to the end of my taper, we'll come out here and we'll make a mark. So that way, when I taper the other side, which we're not going to bother that now with this one, but that way when you taper your other side, you can make sure you get it close to the same length on the taper. So that's how we do the taper. Said you don't want to get it to buckle, you don't want to get cold shots in it, you want a nice flat taper. So here's our parent stock. We started with 1/8 by 1 inch flat bar. It's 30 inches long. That's our parent stock. The first thing that we're going to do after that is we're going to take and we're going to taper both ends. Okay? Once we taper it, we're going to be approximately 33 inches long with a taper on each end of 5.5 inches, roughly. You know, those measurements aren't set in stone. If you end up with 6, that's fine. If you end up with 5, that's fine. But you want these to be fairly long because these are going to be the loose end of your ribbons. So, once we forge that taper, then we're going to measure from end to end, and you're going to find out what your actual length is. Mine's 33. Once you have that, you're going to mark the center, which in this case would be 16.5 inches. So we mark the center. And then we go both directions from the center and we mark 8 inches from the center. Now, once we mark 8 inches, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to take our Sharpie, we're going to set our tape measure. Let me get a better tape measure for this. I've got a better measure. So we're going to come up here and we're going to come just a little bit past 1/2 inch. Probably about 9/16 really on that center line. And we're going to go 1 inch. We're going to go from 0 here. And we're going to come out to about 1 1/8 inches here. We're going to do the same thing on each one of our 1/8 inch marks. Or our 8 inch marks. Not 1/8 inch. Like I said, about 9/16 and 1 1/8 inches. just a little bit bigger than 1 inch. Okay, there we have those measurements. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our square. We're going to come up here and we're just going to strike a mark here. Mark here, and we're going to put a squiggly through that center so we don't mistake the center. You ever do that? Mistake that center? Put a squiggly again. Ain't nothing worse than getting the mark where you don't want it. Almost marked the center again. What we're going to mark the center twice for? And we put a squiggly down that center. That way we don't mistake the center. Now what we want to do, get this stuff out of the way and get it to where we can do it easily. Now this is 1 inch flat bar, is what this is. 1 inch flat bar. So we want to put a mark. Let's put a mark here at put it at a little less than a quarter. We'll come over here. A little less than a quarter. Same thing over here. A little less than a quarter. A little less than a quarter. We want to do all three that way. Once again, we're not building a rocket ship. I know people get tired of me saying that, but we're not building a rocket ship. We're making a ribbon. So we want to bring a line across there. We want to bring a line across there. We want to do that at all the marks that we made. If you're off a little bit from one side to the other, just kind of guesstimate where you need to be. Like that one. That one's way too far that way, so we come down a little bit. There it is. So, now, what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and I'm going to use a bandsaw, but you can use a hacksaw, and you can cut from here to that mark, here to that mark, and we're going to cut to all the marks. So I'll be back in just a minute after I cut those. So I don't know if you can see it, but now we've got our cuts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the anvil with a cut plate on the anvil, and I'm going to cut these with a chisel, with a cold chisel. Okay? Between this line and this line and this line and this line. So that's what we're going to do now. So the first line we make is just a light line. Then we hit it a little harder. Following that line. We'll make any adjustments as we go. Notice I've got a cut plate on top of that angle. Now I don't know if you can see it or not, but we've got a pretty good cut started, so we're going to see if we can break it with the pliers. May have to put it in the vise though. Nope. There we go. That gives us our first divot. Now we're going to go over here to the other side. Just like before. Going to lightly incise the first line so that we've got a guide. We know where we're at. Once we have that first line, keep going. Wants to bend on us, so every once in a while we have to bend it back. Okay, this time it's cutting free. There we go. There's the second piece going right across the shop. So there's all of our cuts. 1, 2, 3. Now if you look, we have some ragged edges there that we need to contend with. So we're going to do that with a file in the vise. And once again, you'll be amazed at how quick that'll go. What I'm using is a 3-corner mill file. And all I'm going to do is knock that ragged edge off it. That's all I'm going to do. Turn it over. The corner. Now if you look, we've knocked the sharp edges off of it. Let it focus a little better. We've knocked the sharp edges off of it. So we got 4 more to do. Now the teeth on most files only cut one way, so there's no use doing this. Make your stroke, pick it up, pull back, make your stroke, pick it up, pull back. So there they are. There's one. There's two. And there's three. So that's where we're at now. So what we want to do now is we want to heat this up here and nope, I'm wrong. First what we want to do is we want to heat this up and bend it down and heat this up and bend it down a little bit and get it out of the way. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, we're getting ready to bend this. Now when we bend this, we want this close to welding heat. Because we're bending it the hard way. We're bending it edgewise. So we're going to bring it out. We're going to leave about 1 inch of it in the vise, maybe a little more. We're going to bear down on that vise. Then we're going to start bending it. Now notice it kinks sideways as we're bending it. We're going to take that out. We're going to take that warble out of it. Now we've took the warble out of it, but notice we are getting a bend in it, which is what we want. So we want this at near a welding heat when we do this. Once again, we leave about 1 inch in there, maybe a little more, a little less. We're not building a rocket ship. Tighten the vise down. Start tapping it again. Notice we get that warble again. Okay, we got to take that warble out. Got to get that warble that you see right there out of there. There's that piece. That's a convenience bend is what that is. So there we are. We've got our 2 bends here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this over, this side first. Then we're going to fold this side over to where these overlap this one. We want to heat this section of the ribbon. You want to heat it evenly, a good even heat. From the middle out. We're going to bring it out. We're going to bend it in the middle. We're going to bring it around. We're going to try our best on the first shot to line those up. You see that we got them pretty well lined up. They're not too bad at all. So now we're going to take the other one and we're going to bend it around and overlap it also. Now we're going to bring that up. We're going to bring it around. So we're trying to get that to match up. Okay, we may have to bend that center one, that inner one, a little bit more to get that to match up. We're still in the way. Now we're going to draw that way a little bit more. Draw that down a little bit more and get them to line up as best as we can. A little bit more. Okay, if you see that, we're lined up pretty good with our 3 recesses. Now we're going to set it on the anvil. We're just going to hammer down on the center on this side, keeping everything lined up. The way we had it. So now if you see, the loose ends of the bow are on the back side. That's the front of the bow. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the collar.